When choice feels impossible. The tavern was in Tallinn, a city where cobblestone streets twist like old thoughts and fog drifts lazily off the harbor. Lanterns glimmered in the mist, softening every corner as though the city itself wanted you to slow down. I was polishing the counter when the door creaked open. The traveler stepped in, careful and hesitant. His gaze wandered around the tavern like he was searching for a place that might not exist. Good evening, my friend. My name is Lion, and what is yours? He paused, then said quietly, Emil. Emil, I repeated, letting the name roll softly into the quiet air. You are welcome here. He sank into the chair by the fire. His hands fidgeted. Lion, sometimes I feel like nothing I choose matters. Like my life is predetermined and I'm just moving along a path that's already written. I poured him a tea, warm and calming, and leaned back. I understand, Emil. Let me tell you a small story, something I think you can relate to. Once, a traveler walked through a forest with two paths. One was straight and sunlit, and the other winding and shadowed. Every time he tried to choose, the trees shifted, and the paths appeared to swap. Frustrated, he began to believe the forest had already decided for him. Alex quietly swept the floor in the corner, and the cat perched atop a shelf, tail flicking, eyes observing. The traveler finally realized, I continued, that the paths had always been there, but he had been looking at the forest the wrong way. The forest didn't take away choice. It was his fear and doubt that made the paths seem illusory. Once he took a step, the path opened beneath his feet. I met Emil's eyes. Sometimes choice doesn't feel real because we fear consequences more than we trust ourselves. Most people feel trapped, I said, not because the world limits them, but because they limit themselves. Rules, expectations, past mistakes, they weigh heavily on our minds. It makes freedom feel like a story someone else is telling. Emil looked down at his hands. But I make choices every day, and it never feels like it changes anything. Change is often invisible at first, I said. Small choices ripple quietly before you notice. Sometimes the illusion is that the ripples aren't happening. The cat mewed softly from the shelf, as if agreeing. And, I added, sometimes our inner critic is louder than reality. The fire crackled, sending sparks toward the ceiling. Alex stacked a few logs, moving with practiced care. Emil, I said, may I tell you why choice sometimes feels like it's not yours? He nodded. Because you are aware that each choice comes with uncertainty. That awareness is a blessing. It means you care. It means you are awake. People who feel choice is easy often don't notice the weight of it. I paused. I once met a traveler in a distant city who believed he could never choose for himself. Every decision terrified him. One day he decided to plant a single seed in a small garden. That one act, tiny and private, reminded him he could influence the world no matter how small. Sometimes that's all it takes. Emil's eyes softened. So I'm not wrong to feel unsure? Never, I said. It's human. Outside, Talon's fog curled around the buildings like smoke from a slow burning lantern. Sometimes we look at life and see only limits, I said, because we haven't seen the threads of possibility weaving beneath our feet. Choice is not always dramatic, it's often quiet, subtle, and slow. The cat stretched and leapt onto the counter, brushing against Emil's arm, as if to remind him that even small things, soft, living things, can shift perspective. Even small decisions, I said, change the pattern. The act of choosing truly, is the only way to discover it. I leaned back in my chair. Here's what you do, Emil. Start with one small choice, something that doesn't feel like it will overwhelm you. Decide, act, observe. The ripples will follow. Emil took a deep breath. One step at a time. Yes, I agreed. One step at a time. Trust that you're not as powerless as it feels. Alex poured a cup of warm tea, sliding it across the bar to Emil. Even small comforts remind you that you can act, he said softly. I smiled. Choice is never gone. Sometimes it's just waiting for you to notice it. The tavern grew quieter as the night deepened. Outside, Talon's fog wrapped the streets like a soft cloak. Emil, I said quietly, freedom is not always in a grand gesture. Often it's in subtle moments. Choosing to speak, to rest, to step forward even when the world seems fixed. The cat curled near the fire, tail wrapped around its paws, eyes half closed in quiet watchfulness. And when the weight feels too much, I continued, remember that even the smallest act of choosing reminds you that life is yours to navigate. Emil rose, a little steadier. Thank you, Lion. I think, I think I can try. Alex opened the door, lantern light spilling across the cobblestone. Emil stepped outside, carrying a small but real sense of agency. My friend, the lanterns will remain lit and the fire will be warm, even when the door closes behind you. Return whenever the road feels heavy or when your heart seeks quiet company. Carry what serves you, leave the rest by the hearth, and know that this place and these words will wait patiently for you. Until then, travel gently and let the night watch over you.